Welcome back to Confessions of a Recruiter with Blake and Declan. We are on a global mission to build the world's largest community of recruiters so we can all connect and succeed together.
That's right. If you want to check out more of Confessions of a Recruiter, jump onto confessions.tv, subscribe to our bi-weekly newsletter, access merch, and if you want to chat to us directly, join our Discord at XR House with the links below. Now, we hope you enjoy this episode.
Thanks, Emily from WOW, for joining us. I'm glad we're able to do this podcast for the second trip to Sydney because we didn't have time. You didn't have time for us last time, I think.
Didn't I?
With Greg.
Well, thank you for having
I'm
me
glad
on.
we got to get it on. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we reached out to you the first time, and you kind of gave
No,
us a bit of the
and-
cold shoulder.
I
she didn't.
Didn't she?
She was in Fiji.
Oh, that's what
I
you
was in
told me,
Fiji.
mate.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I had been recording the rookie training program
Oh, that's it.
for the Savage Academy with Greg Savage, and then went to Fiji
Nice.
to
Let's-
reward myself.
Let's start there. I think that's a good segue into the Savage Academy. So,
Oh, I thought you were going to get a view on Fiji. Oh, that's right.
Highly recommend.
highly recommend?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll circle back to Fiji in a moment. Okay. So let's start with the Savage Academy. Firstly, how did you have this kind of partnership thing going on with Greg? Did you bump into him one day and you said, "Hey, here's a good idea," or walk us through what happened?
What did he do that to you?
Yeah, so I bumped into him on stage because we're on a panel together.
Okay.
So we started working together for a Talent X panel 2021, I think it was. And then short after that, Greg got asked to speak at the APSCO conference at the Opera House, and he asked me to be on his panel that he was hosting, and I said yes. And so we've done a bit of work speaking together, and he said, "You're really good speaking. You should start pursuing a speaking, not career, but I guess gig on the side of recruitment, like get into that space." And he said, "Do you want to do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Do you like speaking in front of people?" I said, "Yeah." And then he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to be building out like a training academy. I want to get you involved." And I said, "Yeah, no problem. Let me know when the time's right." Anyway, a few months after that is when he reached out and said, "Do you want to put some content together with me and I can teach you how to become good on camera?" Because that's what I hadn't done yet. I'd spoken live in front of people but hadn't actually recorded anything, and then we took it from there.
And speaking in front of people, that's like everyone's biggest fear. Was it your fear?
Yeah, 100%.
How'd you get over it? Or you just always scared and you do it anyway?
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten over it. I think it still makes me nervous. Like, I still get the nerves. It's when they mic me up that I get nervous, when I'm about to walk on stage. That's the part where I go, "Oh, shit." But no, I haven't gotten over it, but I manage it by just practicing a lot. I always write like the first line of every main point I want to drive and practice that part.
And what'd you talk about at Talent X?
The first time?
Yeah.
The first time we're talking about personal brand, which was probably a good segue into speaking in the recruitment industry because it was something I'd focused on a lot since I started WOW, and something that I love and something I do and that I do every day and that I've always been building since I started. Naturally in recruitment we do that, but running a company more so. So yeah, personal brand.
And how do you do that every day? Blake struggles. He's like, once a month, once every 6 weeks, he'll put something up, but he struggles to get that consistency. How do you do it every day?
Well, I think personal brands, both online and offline, that's the first thing I'll say. So I more mean like the way I show up every day, like the way I look when I come into the office, but also what I put online and what I purposefully curate. But it's just discipline, like the habit and putting a plan together. So I built a strategy around it and basically started by coming up with just a 30-day plan. Then it was a 90-day plan. And then it was like, what's the plan for the whole year? Eventually is what I got to. Like, what is the conversation I'm trying to own? Who's the audience I'm speaking to? Who do I want to be known by? Where do I want my name just popping up every week? And then we had a look into Sean Anderson's course, Hoxo Media. I think you guys had him on the podcast.
Him on, yeah. What's it like?
So we haven't started yet. We're in the July intake. But I spoke to quite a few people who had done it. And the guys at Precision Sourcing did it. And I was speaking to them, and Simon Hare was on the panel with me when we were at APSCO. And he had just done the course through Hoxo. And so I got a few tips from his team. But just posting 3 times a week on LinkedIn, doing a personal post, a professional post, and then a promotional one. And just keeping the habit, just consistently.
The 3 Ps.
3 Ps.
So,
That's
okay, so you sketched out a 30-day plan, then it turned into a 60-day plan, then a 90, then a full year. So what does that look like? Are you getting like an Excel spreadsheet up and then like writing down your topics that you wanted to speak about for the 30 days? Or like that sounds great. How do you implement something like that? How do you strategize that type of plan?
So when it was 30 days, it was literally just getting a document out. I used OneNote and just actually having day by day what I wanted to be talking about. I wasn't posting 5 days a week. So it was more like a 30-day plan. Let's post twice a week.
Okay.
And it'll be like an article, like a way to educate my audience, a personal post. But I just roughly draw out, like, what am I going to be talking about? If it's how to make a great first impression in your interview, as an example. Just like that was the title in the plan, and I come up with the content later. But just a rough plan so that it was strategic. It made sense to all line up together and then have a message going forward.
And so why do this? Is it for more clients? Is it for more candidates? Is it not so cut and dry like that? What's the outcome that you're trying to achieve by promoting your brand in this way?
Well, I see it as I've got 3 audiences, one being candidates, one being clients, and then one being recruiters, because I'm trying to grow my business. So my perspective was, if I can build my brand and have presence in this space, I'll create an inbound funnel. And it was about just creating that inbound funnel of candidates wanting to speak to me, clients wanting to speak to me, and then recruiters wanting to speak to me. So they'd want to work with me. And the brand piece is just about creating that trust and brand loyalty, because people buy and repeat buy off someone that they trust. You can mess up, they'll come back to you because they trust you. You've got loyalty with them. But if you don't have that, you do one bad hire and they're off to your competitor. So it was just our way of creating that trust and then speaking to those 3 audiences for that inbound funnel.
How do you find inbound marketing for recruitment and getting that? Like if you look at, say, a recruiter and they could bring $300 to $800 million plus to your business, is it almost...
Sorry, what?
Say if you
$300 to $800 million.
Oh, is that what I said?
I think you meant K.
Yeah.
K,
We knew
yeah.
what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just presume that's what your recruiters
I just don't want anyone to take my man out of context.
They'll clip it out and put it somewhere. Yeah, so say you get 300 to 500K biller, and that could be a source from a recruiter. They bring clients. They're able to find their new clients. That would be a way better ROI than, you know, what you potentially get through clients looking up stuff on LinkedIn. Or do you get a good consistent flow of clients reaching out to you going, oh, wow, I mean, I didn't mean that. But yeah, can we use your services? Like, what's your view on that?
On inbound leads, you mean?
Yeah,
Like, what's
inbound leads, yeah. Versus like doing all your marketing based around attracting better recruiters and then relying on them to bring the business, as opposed to, you know, consistently trying to get clients calling you from LinkedIn.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's a constant challenge. I think especially it's become evident in the last 6 to 12 months as the market started to shift, that the inbound funnel, it does change as the market shifts. So we spend a lot of money on paid marketing as well to create that inbound funnel, and that was really effective for the last 2 years. And then also my personal brand's creating that inbound funnel. Look, I believe you're going to have recruiters who are great at BD, but you're going to have some that aren't. And I think if I'm happy doing it and if I enjoy doing it, we've got the resources to be able to create the inbound leads, I think it creates an attractive place for recruiters to work. Does it build a weaker team? Maybe. But I just don't believe that every recruiter in this market has that really strong BD skill set like how they used to.
Do you think they should?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So we've just started bringing in a company called Sales Redefined. It's run by Abby White, and she's been running sales training with our team for this very reason, that we need to exercise that BD muscle. So we are investing in that, definitely, because you can't rely on inbound. Not in recruitment. You need to be doing the outbound activity. But I think it's a balance of both is the answer.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so that brings us on to actually an interesting point that we spoke to John Burke. Do you know who John Burke is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a tech guy. We're obviously going to Talent X that's all about technology and recruitment and all this kind of thing. And, you know, sometimes Declan and I are also victims of the shiny ball syndrome when it comes to the latest and greatest tech. Oh, this can help me do that. This can help me do that. It's a bit of a funny story. We used to judge things on how many placements it would take to get an ROI on that piece of tech. So to be like, oh, that's about $250 a month. Oh, mate, I just got to get one placement and that'll pay for it, kind of thing.
I say that as well. I'm like, guys, it pays itself off as soon as you make the placement.
Yeah. I think a lot of people fall into that trap. We're trying to get out of this trap of like, valuing everything by how many placements it takes to pay off.
Yeah.
But the thing that we spoke about, I think it was maybe, a couple of podcasts ago, was the balance and the need for maybe cutting the fat from your tech upgrades and bells and whistles and then putting it back into sales training for your team so they can continue to learn the soft skills that are required for recruitment rather than giving them the latest and greatest automation email sequence. What are your thoughts on that? Do you have a balance there? Have you thought of that before, or?
Yeah, I mean, we've just been looking at introducing quite a few new pieces of tech for BD because it's been a challenge, and we keep having to come back to the conversation of, is introducing this just a band-aid fix for the fact that our team don't have this skill set right now and we just got to develop them? So what we did was bring in Sales Redefined because we were going to invest heavily in like Source Whale, Rover. We've already got Lusher and those types of things, but Rover, have you guys heard of them?
No, we've heard about Source Whale. It's
What's
just
Rover?
email sequencing, isn't it?
Yeah. Rover's basically, they pull all the data from the internet about people who are advertising in your space, and then it inputs it into Bullhorn, our ATS system. And in there, it basically pulls in the company details, their contact details, and all the jobs they're advertising for.
Interesting.
And so that goes into the opportunities section of Bullhorn. And then your consultants can log in every day and see who's hiring and be able to effectively reverse market. And
I
ad
like
chase.
that.
Job Adder
So-
does that too.
Oh, do they?
Does it?
It doesn't do it if they're already existing in your Job Adder, then they'll tell you, hey, this
Gotcha.
client's
Oh,
advertising.
because the Seek and Job Adder are
Yeah.
like they're the same or whatever now.
Yeah, so this is like it puts it into your database. So
Yeah.
a lot of our guys are speaking to people on LinkedIn, but there's no record of it in our database. So it takes out that admin, I suppose, and also collects almost like a lead list. So some companies are introducing SDRs now, and it does give them data to, I guess, to go through because there's phone numbers, email addresses, and everything on there. So look, we've been looking at all of that, but my first point of call was to invest in training as the first thing.
So you've brought up a couple of times that your team need to get better at BD. So why aren't they good at BD now? Did you hire non-sales people? Who are you hiring exactly that you feel that they're kind of lacking that BD side of things?
It's a good question. I honestly think it's the last 2 years people have become complacent on that side. So just haven't been exercising the muscle. I mean, we've got people on our team who have been in recruitment 10 years. So it's not that they've never been in a market that's required BD. I think it's just we had 2 years of in recruitment living our best lives.
Yeah.
And having jobs land on our laps, and everyone's just forgotten how to exercise the muscle. So I think it's just habits because BD's not rocket science. It's just consistency, process, being a little bit methodical about it, but just actually doing it. That's the only part of it that people need to commit to, and people have lost that habit. That's all.
So is it the kind of the mojo, or is it the activity? Because sometimes in my team, we've kind of got a loose kind of BD process, and it's every morning you want to do at least 5 to 10 calls or emails to a potential client. So they spend maybe their first hour doing a little bit of BD, maybe not going too hard, not too results driven, so they don't get head nicked that they haven't achieved anything for their BD session. And generally that kind of works quite well. So I found the good kind of fix for us was getting a routine or a process in place. But again, yeah, sometimes it might be the pitch. So do you think it might be a process thing? Is it just a flexing the muscle thing and getting familiar with how to do it, or what exactly a part of the BD process, or even getting leads? I guess you got no issues with leads, but what part of the BD process do you think that we need to refine? Is it the pitch?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of the activity and the habit. So activity being knowing what activity to do that creates a meaningful interaction, whether that be face-to-face or phone calls or messaging, but like actually knowing the activity and the volume of that activity that they need for conversion, and only tracking a few. I think people overcomplicate it. So just bringing it back to basics, like let's just track 5 and that's it. And then the other thing is just doing it consistently and having that routine. So 10 to 12 each day seems to be our sweet spot.
Okay.
But just keeping that routine going and doing it for long enough. Like we've only been talking about it for the last quarter, 2 quarters. because last year it just wasn't needed as much.
And so how much activity is required to get a meaningful result?
It depends on your conversions. Everyone's different.
Do you have a general rule of thumb?
Yeah.
I say, so, okay, the reason I ask this is because I usually tell my guys 1 in 20 absolute cold BD calls, you can expect to get an engaged job. You might get 3 speckies. Someone's like, oh, yeah, look, send me your terms and I'll have a read and I'll get back to you. Not an engaged job. But maybe 1 in 20 is like, you might get a hot job. They're like, yep, send me candidates and I'll meet them tomorrow type of thing. And then we spoke to Lee from P&C and he's like 1 in 4, 1 in 5.
Cold outreaches.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, that's what I said. So I want to get your feedback here.
Okay, so we work towards 15 touch points.
Okay.
And we say, because the average recruiter or average salesperson gives up after 5 touch points. Not even. I think you lose like 70% of people after the 3rd touch point or something.
Yeah.
There's some stat about it.
Yeah.
But basically, we've got 15 touch points. So we say as soon as you're beyond 5 touch points with that one contact, you're already better than most. And you're already showing consistency, persistence, staying front of mind. So that should lead to conversion. So we just talk about 15 touch points.
What are your 15 touch points?
Just call, email, text, LinkedIn
they
message.
vary. I feel like I'm giving you guys my secret sources. But basically, they
We
go...
might become good recruiters.
Yeah.
So they essentially would go 3 touch points on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And it's value add. So not asking for something in the first message, trying to personalize them as much as possible and add value. So that could be a case study, a resource like a blog that we've written. Our salary guides get good traction. And then any white paper, anything that's got market insights that our market will want to see. So adding value, so normally 3 LinkedIn messages and then 3 emails and 3 phone calls is generally our rule of thumb. And then you'd keep going if you weren't getting anywhere. But the touch points really vary. There's a whole list of just resources people can send, types of, so end of financial year is busy for us, so some templates around like what to send out at end of financial year, phone calls to make once you've got a candidate you want to talk about, and reverse market in. So we've got like a Bible and you can just follow the steps.
Okay, so you're more about how many times have you spoken to this person. Oh, okay, I'm thinking about it differently. I'm like, cold call 20 people back to back for like 4 hours and you'll get one of them. You're like, yeah, just nurture the relationship, build a relationship. So that's a different way.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
okay, so if it's an inbound lead or somebody that comes to me with an inquiry, my conversion is 1 in 2.
Nice.
If it's a cold lead that I reach out to, my conversion is 1 in 4.
Wow, that's awesome.
But that's if they reply to me.
Okay.
And we book like the next date. So from that conversation, we book in a phone call or we book in a discovery.
Okay, so
but
you don't lead with a call?
Then
you don't lead with a call? Like, would you call up Joe Blogs from ABC contact centres?
Contact centre, thanks.
And go, hey, Joe Blogs, it's Emily, got some awesome candidates, got to give you a buzz and introduce myself. Do you want to know about them?
Yeah. We do phone calls as well.
Yeah. Okay, nice. So you've got the outbound email sequencing, you've got the LinkedIn messages, phones. Awesome.
Hitting up all 3.
It sounds like you don't need any sales training.
No, it's getting the guys to do it though.
Yeah.
And getting the results.
Yeah.
And this is all fresh for us. Like we only did the training about 2 months ago.
Is it expensive?
Yeah, like you're paying about 9 to 10K for them to come in and do a workshop with the team, and then they basically do sessions with the directors.
Yeah.
So execution sessions are with directors. You can bring your team leads in, like your second tier management can come in. But then they run a workshop with your team. I think you get 2 workshops with your team, sorry. We've done 1 and then we'll have another one to make sure it's all cemented.
Is it recruitment or sales?
Sales training.
Yep. Have you heard of Swish sales training?
I have actually,
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Oh, are they?
Yep. Gold Coast.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're really good. Okay, cool. And then we were chatting before and you said you've got a similar story to me. I doubt it's as embarrassing or lackluster experience into recruitment. How did you get started? Because there's, I see your articles or posts that, youngest ever recruitment agency owner. How old were you when you got into recruitment?
Youngest ever.
I don't know if anyone's claimed that. Come on.
Oh.
You can claim it. Who else is
claim
claiming that?
Everyone says you're really young and you own a recruitment agency. So
We'll just go with it.
We'll just go
Youngest
with it.
ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
We spoke to the UK's youngest ever recruiter yesterday. She was
How?
16 when she got into recruitment. Placed
Yeah.
a role when she was 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's
Can we
still
have
in
her on our
recruitment.
team? My team,
Maybe.
not yours.
You can try.
You could try.
So my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's kick it off.
Okay, well, I started
Take
in
us back.
sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, so commission-only sales.
Oh, what type?
I wasn't door-to-door. So there was a door-to-door campaign.
Emily, you don't strike me as a
I was-
com-only sales rep. What is doing? You seem like this polite, gentle, caring person, and you're just like, yeah, com-only sales.
Salespeople aren't polite, gentle, caring. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
I was studying engineering at the time. Does
What
that make
type?
more
Mechanical?
sense? Civil.
Civil engineering.
Mm.
And you're like,
I was the only girl in my cohort. And so I was doing sales on the side and just was really good at it. So that's how I met my business partner now. It was Daniel's company. So Daniel's the co-founder of WOW, and it was his company I was working at, and just became number one salesperson in the country within the first couple of months. And then within 3 months, they promoted me to have a small team. And then within 6 months, they made me a part owner where I got profit share of the face-to-face salespeople.
What were you selling?
Perfume.
Perfume. Oh,
I
is
was
that
those-
the Airborne?
No, not that
Oh.
one. But I was that person in the shopping centre who
What
was
was the brand?
standing
Yeah.
there. L'Oreal,
Yeah.
L'Oreal.
UK brand.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Good
I still
margins?
remember my pitch.
Yeah.
What's the pitch?
Come on, you got to give us the
Come
pitch.
So basically, you'd get them to try all the perfumes, and I would tell you about. This is so embarrassing. I would tell you about why I love that perfume, or someone in my family who loves that perfume. Tell the story with the perfume. You tell me which one you love. You try it, and then it would basically be buy one and you get 5 for free. Because I'd pretend one was $100 when really they were maybe like $15, $20 each. So you buy one for $100 and then you get the rest for free. It was honestly a no-brainer. So easy to sell. Well, we made it easy to sell. And
There's a bit of a trend there. So there's a bit of a theme. So when we caught Nina, your old boss,
Yeah.
she was on the podcast yesterday, and it was a very similar pitch.
She
So
did
used to
com only.
com only aerial photography,
really?
Door knocking.
door knocking in the
Oh, I
US.
didn't even know that.
Do
I knew she
you-
did door knocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, aerial photography, and she was the exact same thing. She's like, your family will love this. This will be an amazing
Yeah,
photo
it was
of
just
your house.
emotional.
Yeah. So and then tell us your recruitment pitch. How do you pitch WOW? Guys, this will
That takes a second.
This will
We change
transform
lives.
your business. Yeah, well, okay. So
Your wife
com
will
only-
love you even more.
Yeah.
So com only, and you did that for 6 to 12 months?
No, so I ended up doing that for a couple of years,
Okay.
but progressed within about 6 months to, I had a team of 25. I was 19 at the time. Didn't really know what I was doing, but we're just
Did you
making
feel
it up
like
as
you were
we
crushing it?
went. Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
on top of the world.
Yeah.
They
What
make
happened
you
to
feel like that in commission-only sales.
Yeah, you're all like, let's get this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Big
whacking on the
pump
side of the
ups.
van.
Yeah, you're ringing the bell,
Yeah.
smashing the gong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happened to the engineering degree?
So once I realized how much I love sales and I was actually quite good at it and also loved people management, I dropped out of uni. It was great. And ended up working full-time. So I was working full-time by the time I was running the team. I wasn't part-time anymore. And then I went back to uni later once I got into recruitment and did a Bachelor of Leadership and Management.
Wow, leadership's something I really struggle with. How d-
Actually?
Yeah, it took me forever to do it. How did you just have a knack for it?
No, I think it's taken a time. I
Does
think
take
it's
time.
the longest skill to harness
Oh,
and
okay. Now
develop.
I feel better.
Yeah,
I-
no, I didn't have it. I wasn't natural at it, I don't think.
I don't think you ever fully are like, I'm great at leadership now. I think it's just like this forever
constant.
growing. So you're on it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Such good leaders.
Okay, so
Bring everyone up.
Just trying to empower you.
okay, so you studied your degree. You were full time selling, buy one get 5 free, and then when did you get into recruitment?
So left there because I wanted a real job. Didn't
So
want to
you're
be
like,
in commission
Aren't you
only.
business ownership? You own a
So-
business, you run a team, you're like, I still want a real job.
The way they set it up is that you get profit share. You don't really have business ownership, but yes, I was walking away from that. I was burnt out. I was working 7 days a week. I wanted to go into something corporate. I was traveling a lot. So at the time I left, I was in Canberra, not Sydney. And I'm a big family person, love being around family. And I was 19, traveling around Sydney with this team and just essentially wanted to get into something that
Paid a
felt
consistent wage.
well, paid a consistent wage, but just felt more like a career. It didn't feel like a long-term career for me. I didn't think I'd do it forever and was ready to start. I felt like I had the skill set then to go into something and build a career. So I was actually interviewing at Beaumont for a temp job, just to keep me going until I figured out what I wanted to do. And the person who was interviewing me, Liska, she said, have you thought about doing recruitment? And I said, no. And she said, you should think about it. And she started telling me about recruitment. And she said, go home and think about it. And so I went home and thought about it, and I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I had a couple of other interviews for other roles, and another recruitment agency said the same thing to me. Why don't you become a recruiter? And so, yeah, I just fell into it. Same old story as everyone else, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit boring, but fell into it.
And so how long were you at Beaumont People for?
I always rounded up to 2 years, but I wasn't. I was there
1 year,
like
2 months.
13 months.
I was there 1 year and 10 months. And then
Nice.
thought I could start my own agency.
Oh, well done.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
So you started your own agency
You're
with
naive
1
like
year-
us.
Yeah, with 1 year, 10 months experience.
Yeah, like I was still learning how to be a recruiter.
I think I was 1 year 11 and he was 1 year and 6.
Oh my God,
Yep,
guys.
Yep.
See?
We're all extremely naive.
We're all idiots.
So the funny thing is, we speak to a lot of recruiters through X-Recruiter that are 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, and sometimes the conversations we have is, have you ever thought of doing this for yourself? And the amount of people with like 10 years experience that turn around and go, oh, I think I need to get a bit more experience first before I do something like this, is really surprising. And so it's not something that Declan and I have ever thought, how many years experience do you need to justify to start your own agency? But how did you justify starting your own agency with 1 year, 10 month experience?
What do you call, is it Dan?
Yeah.
Just call him and go, mate, these new skills I got. Why don't we just do this in recruitment?
Hey, I reckon I could copy Beaumont People.
You set up a business, haven't you? You want to do this?
You're not going to believe what I just learned.
No.
I'll teach you.
Truth be told, he's the one who approached me. So when I used to sit, because I always knew I wanted to run my own company, but I didn't think it'd be recruitment. I used to sit in the office and think, like even when I was 6 months in, and think I want to run my own business, but this looks fucking hard. Like this looks like it's hard to run. And so I didn't ever think it'd be recruitment. I thought I'm developing good skills. I'm learning how to be in the business world, how to deal with corporate clients. It's a good skill set to have. I'm still exercising that sales muscle. But I didn't think I'd run a recruitment agency. It was Daniel who came to me. We ran into each other on a night out, and then he said, do you want to go for lunch? And went for lunch, and he pitched me on the idea. He got wind from one of my friends what I was billing, and I think he just wanted in on the...
What were you billing?
Not even that much, to be honest. But for him, it seemed, because he was dealing with these commission-only sales guys, he goes, well, the margins on that are better than the margins on this.
Yeah.
I was billing, I think, 80K a month.
Nice.
But it took a while to get there. I started as a resourcer and then moved into a consultant role, which I think was a nice transition.
And what was the time gap from that night out, the lunch, and then the actual first day of WOW?
Time gap from deciding to start it was like maybe 2 weeks. And then, very naive, maybe 2 weeks. And then time to leaving was probably about a month after that.
Quick.
Very
super
fast.
quick.
Yeah.
So Dan approached you and said, look, why don't you just start your own agency? Dan's never done recruitment.
Dan's never done recruitment.
Is he in recruitment now?
He's very much in recruitment now, yeah.
Okay.
I taught him.
Oh, okay. So you're teaching Dan how to recruit. He's teaching you how to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the
beautiful.
roles are just flipped.
Yeah.
Awesome.
trade-off.
How good.
Yeah.
And what was the first day like? Where did you start? Was it from home? Was it in a
No.
serviced office?
No, so I went into one of Daniel's offices, and he'd set, like, I had an office of my own inside his office, but it was like a lost puppy going in, like I didn't know anyone. I felt really awkward. I opened up my laptop and I was like, I need to look like I know what I'm doing, but I really don't.
I feel ya. Still do that.
And it was kind of like fake it till you make it. I know people disagree with that saying, but I had no idea what I was doing. Anyone who says that they do with a year and 10 months of experience doesn't. Like, I still go out for lunch with my clients now, who are my first ever clients, but I pitch them as if like they definitely weren't. And I tell them now, you're my first client. And they're just like, really? You did not make it seem like that. I'm like, fake it till you make it. And they now know they were part of that journey, but...
It's so funny because I did an apprenticeship, and it takes 4 years before you can get signed off, before you're allowed to just, weld stuff. And then we're trying to run businesses with 18 months experience.
Yeah.
What was the biggest learning curve from being in a good agency that probably had some good systems, good processes that obviously taught you, how to get to 80K a month, which is awesome, to then going in by yourself, starting from zero again. What are the things that you didn't expect to happen? Was there anything that you thought, oh shit, this is way harder than I thought? Or you thought, geez, this is actually really simple. Why didn't I do this with 1 year, 4 months experience?
No, there was no part of me that was like, this is really simple. I should have done it sooner. The things I learned, the importance of brand. I really took for granted the fact that I was going out there and I had Beaumont's brand to work with. And then when it was just me, I had no brand. And I didn't realize how much the credibility and trust was coming from the fact that Beaumont had a brand in the market, not little old me. I had to go and develop that. So I learnt that really fast, that I needed to build brand. And that's why personal brand became so important to me.
And so how did the name WOW Recruitment come to light? Because it's not a usual name, I guess I would say. Like, what do you want to call that? So, Dan, what should we call the agency? Wow. Or does it stand for something?
It doesn't stand for anything.
It's just WOW Recruitment.
Yeah. So when we were coming up with the name, there was a lot of arguments, and he didn't want anything. He didn't want people's names. He didn't want it to be like your standard stuff. He wanted to stand out and be a little bit crazy, a little bit weird, and just something memorable. Like, he basically was like, it doesn't need to be our last names, like what a lot of agencies do, but it needs to be something that people remember. But with our first brand, I really hated it. So we did a rebrand a few years back.
What was the first brand?
It was still WOW, but it was different branding and had different look and feel.
With the donuts?
Yeah.
Or are they still around?
No. Donuts aren't really around, but it was even before that.
Oh, right.
It was black and white. No colour.
I think maybe I've seen that.
I remember that.
Have you got any?
Do you?
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It's like a squiggly, like a cursive writing. Do you? I always think no one even knows about that brand.
It's a faded background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're going to have to get some of the archives up to show me, because I feel like I'm missing out on this.
Yeah, so I hated it. We went to a branding agency and we wanted to do a rebrand. I wanted to change the name. And they basically said, let us go out to market, do some research and see how much brand presence you have and see how much brand value you've got in this brand before you make that decision. And he said, and if it says that we should keep it, then, like, if the research says we should keep it, then I'm going to rebrand with this same name and you've got to love it. Anyway, so I went and did all the research. I spoke to all our clients as well, got all the feedback, and the general consensus was everyone knows you and people love the name. So he said, let me go do a brand concept and everything. And if I do this, you have to get on board and love it. And we went through that whole process and now I love it.
Awesome.
Because they rechanged it, reshaped it, they changed what it meant to me. So, and it became more me, and now we stand for something with it and it's got presence and it's aligned.
I really like WOW Recruitment. It sounds good. I just was thinking, before actually calling it WOW Recruitment, how do you get to that decision? Oh, WOW Recruitment?
It was purely based on just being memorable and standing out and being different to what's in the industry.
Yeah.
Do you find, you find it easy now to stand out? It's recruitment's a pretty archaic industry. Like, not many people are pushing the needle to stand out.
No,
Why do
you
you think
guys
that is?
stand out.
Do we?
Yeah.
To who?
To recruiters. You guys are loud. You guys are noisy on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we are very noisy. That's probably, I'd say,
Pity you're not coming to Talent X.
95% Declan, 5% Blake, I reckon. That is there. I think his superpower is just shooting from the hip, just doing heaps of random stuff on LinkedIn. I think that's
and on video.
Just keep slinging stuff so something sticks.
But
thanks for the, I don't know, is that a compliment? Thank you.
It is a compliment.
Oh,
yeah.
cheers.
What was the question, sorry?
Why is the industry archaic?
Yeah, why is it a bit archaic? Why aren't more people doing what
You're
all doing? You're doing.
I don't think everyone sees the value of brand and presence, because big companies have established relationships. They have that constant flow of like a contract to book and of work coming through, and they get that based on their relationships.
But look at McDonald's. They're still spending money on every form of advertising. I don't know why recruiters think they're any different.
A lot of recruiters don't invest in like paid marketing either. So we were different even for doing that.
Yeah, remember I messaged you in 2020?
Oh my God, yeah. And you asked if I was getting results, and I said, yeah.
Google AdWords. Hey, just wanted to jump in here. We got a confessions hotline, so give us a call, send us a text if you want to share any juicy stories, or even just ask a question that's been on your mind, because we'd love to hear from you. The phone number is 0485 865 483. enjoy the rest of the show.
Google AdWords, really?
Tell us about it.
How many leads, how many deals a month would Google AdWords get you, and how much are you spending on Google AdWords?
So this year, barely any. If we go back to last year though, we were probably getting about 5 leads on average through a week, but across our different divisions. So that's sales, marketing and business services and contact center. So they were coming through across the business, and you pretty much convert all inbound leads because they're coming to you with a job. They've got a need. Unless it's for like later, you're going to convert it. So they were coming through. We probably were spending in monthly spend in marketing in general was around 15K. And then the return on that, we were placing probably 50% of our jobs from inbound some months.
Wow. So you'd spend 15 grand a month, which is, let's call it 2 recruiter salaries.
Mm-hmm.
And you were
That's
getting...
including organic though, sorry. Do you want just paid?
Just
Yeah,
paid.
paid,
Just
Google
paid,
Ads, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like 3 grand a month.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot.
Wow,
Yeah, a lot
okay.
lower, yeah.
So 3 grand a month, and you would be placing at least 4 roles a month from it?
Mm-hmm.
Huge ROI.
Yeah, so
No wonder none of you guys doing any BD.
that's what I mean. We've created monsters.
Yeah.
But
Up the Google spend. Come on, Em.
yeah,
Got no jobs on.
Em, where's the leads at?
that is literally it.
Does my head in. Oh.
So cost per lead ended up being $200. Still is around that. We got it down to about $180, but it's around $200 per lead.
Do you use a marketing agency for that?
Yeah, we use Prominence.
Oh, you still use him?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I've had the worst experience with marketing agencies. I reckon I've
you?
been ripped off 3 times with paid ads, with branding. I did a rebrand of Vendito as well. And when I first attempted to do it, I sat down with a marketing agency, this branding agency in Brisbane. There was like 7 people in the room, and I felt super important. And they're like, all right, so, what do you want to achieve? What's your philosophy? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I went through this whole thing, and then and they're like, all right, we've got everything we need. We're going to come back to you. Anyway, I paid them 5 grand, and then I met up for the second meeting, and they're like, all right, so this is what we're going to do here. We're going to do this website. We're going to do these AdWords. We're going to do this. And I was like, this is great. Yeah, let's do it. And they're like, yeah, it's like 75 grand. And I was like, I just paid you 5 grand. They're like, yeah, that's for the meeting. I was like, wait, the meeting was 5 grand to sit down with you to give me a branding concept. And they're like, yup. I was like, I'm never coming back here again.
It's expensive.
What is doing there?
Yeah, you've got to work with, Prominent specialise in recruitment. So I think you've got to be with someone who knows the industry, or at least have an account manager who does.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to them.
Yeah.
I want $200 a lead. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it'll start to go up as this year goes on. We brought spend back a little bit just because we weren't getting the wins. So we're just measuring ROI and where we're getting the wins. And this year it's just so different ball game.
Are you just not getting as much traffic?
Yeah, I think
Quality's not as good?
quality. So
Yeah.
the leads are coming through, not as much. So we might get 1 to 2 a week now versus 5. And when they're coming through, they're not all that qualified.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I want to pivot a little bit and just talk about WOW in general. So how long has WOW been around for?
6 years.
6 years. That's pretty much the same length of time as us.
2017.
Yeah.
Yep.
When?
2017. December 2017.
So all of
December.
us, without our experience, in 2017, we're like, we're going to start
Yeah.
agencies.
Yeah.
Imagine if we all combined.
Oh my God, I know
2017.
we'd be a powerhouse.
I was going to
Ditch
say we
Daniel.
probably would have.
Yeah, no
you know these
experience.
quotes that people are like, our agency has the combined experience of 3 years.
Normally like 150 years experience. We're like, we got 3.
Yup, the combined experience of our whole agency is 3
And we're
years.
more proactive than any other recruiter in the market.
Hey, but that works.
Yeah.
Clients used to be like, you've got to be hungry if you're on your own with this much experience.
Yeah.
We'll give you a go.
So how many consultants have you got now?
18.
18. Wowee, that's a big business. That's a lot.
What were you going to say?
I was like, really?
Yeah. No, it is 18 consultants. I feel like
Sorry,
You're in,
18
like, the
in
top-
total.
18 in total.
Yeah.
You're in
Okay.
like the top 40% of size recruitment agencies.
Yeah, people don't really get beyond 10.
No.
I think that's the biggest struggle. I don't know about you guys, but my biggest struggle is getting to 10. As soon as we got over 10, it felt like we kicked into a different gear.
Okay, walk us through the journey of being we call it a micro agency under
Okay.
10. Do we do that?
Oh, it's probably
We do now.
Small agency.
Yeah, so micro agency, let's say 1 to 3, small agency 3 to 10. We're just
4 to 10.
coining these terms right
4
now.
to 10.
4 to 10.
We can't say 3 to 10.
Okay, mate, all right. And then,
Work it out later.
yeah. And then over 10, it's almost like over 10, you need to get different types of skills from the owner. So you need to understand how to manage managers and get this like new layer of management in and all that kind of stuff. So what were the challenges getting over 10 for you? What did you do to adapt? What does that look like now?
Yeah, so getting to 10, the struggle was getting the right people. So when I started, I figured I can either pay with time or money. I didn't have money, so I paid with time and got people on who didn't have any experience. And they just weren't the right people. They didn't have the right drive. They didn't come from sales background. They weren't ambitious. I was just hiring the wrong people, which is hard to say being a recruiter. You think you should get it right. But yeah, they just weren't. I think my first team, I got rid of it and rebuilt. So I got to a headcount of 7 and pretty much rebuilt again. And this time went for experience and paid. Because then I had a bit of cash flow, could actually pay decent money, got experience on, got people from big agencies who had had the training. I think that's what we did well, was going to the bigger agencies where they've got good training programs, they've had time to put people through like the structure and then bring them on, because
How'd you attract them?
rec to recs.
Really?
Really?
You just
First couple
you actually
were
got
me.
a recruiter
successful-
from a rec to rec.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
a rec to rec actually got you someone.
Yeah, why are you
Never
saying
said
that?
to anyone.
Honestly, we've tried to use Rec Direct. They all go, yeah, mate, we'll get back to you. They never find us
people
anyone.
always say that. People say they've had bad experiences with rec to recs, but and I have, but I've found one good one, and she's the only person I've worked with the whole time.
Who?
Nicole from Lime Resources.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Do we know her?
No, we interviewed Lime Recruitment.
Lime Resources, is that the other one where the other person works?
Yep. Not anymore.
Okay.
You
Fantastic.
guys.
Yeah, usually
That's
we get
awesome.
brushed. Usually we get brushed. So
Same.
the reason why we...
Oh, you
th-
get brushed too?
Yeah, we're too small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just don't like
Well,
care
under
about you.
10, too small.
Yeah.
Now I feel like people want to work with us. Like, especially this year, now I've got rec to recs coming to me. I'm like, I've been brushed for the last 5 years.
Yes.
And now
You
you're
keep a
coming
little
to
black
me.
book of all the ones that brushed you?
Yeah.
You're like, no.
I should start.
Low ball them at the end. 5K flat for you.
You didn't believe in me back then.
Yeah, exactly. So no, we started to get the right people. That's when we started to shift. And then COVID was probably the best thing that happened to us. Everyone says that. So I think it's the best thing that happened to anyone in recruitment.
Yep.
But it just gave me time to sit back, reflect. I think I was struggling with a bit of imposter syndrome, and that just got highlighted during COVID. You start to go, why am I even doing this? Why are we going to survive if all these other companies that are way more established are struggling? And I think not going into the office every day and seeing my team, you start to think, do I deserve this? Is this even mine? Why am I here? What am I doing? So I think COVID was a good time for me to reflect, because I got serious about why I was doing it and started to get a bit of belief around that. Not a bit, sorry, I've always had a lot of belief, but belief in myself around what I was trying to do, and came out very intentional. So I used the downtime in COVID to strategize and to come up with a game plan, and I wanted to come out strong. And when we came out, everyone would be like to us, you guys came out of nowhere. And I always go, we came out of COVID, because it was a time where we were like, we're going to come out swinging, we're going to come out making a lot of noise and build fast and get aggressive about growth, and stop having that imposter voice in my head going, don't grow too fast, you can't really do this. I just went, no, let's just grow. So came out of that, and when I say came out, lockdowns. And then, yeah, just started adding the headcount and just had 2 people starting at a time. Started our rookie program, so we didn't have to worry about how competitive the market was. Rec to rec fees were getting expensive, and I just figured we can train, we can build a training program. And we started doing that. And then we started 3 rookies in 1 month, and just started going from there.
Awesome.
Nice. And can you run us through what March was like for you, like that March, April of 2020?
Yeah,
What was
so-
like your psychology? I know you sort of said a bit then, but yeah, what was it like for you?
So we work in the US, so we got hit just a little bit sooner than everyone in Australia, because I lost all my work in the US first. So US got hit Feb, and I remember that week my entire job board left. It was just gone from the US side. We had Australian stuff left. And I remember walking into Daniel's office and going, this is about to hit Australian and this is going to be fucked. And he goes, no, it's not going to be. And I was like, no. And I told him what was happening in the US, and I could tell by the look on his face, he was like, shit. And when he looks like that, I'm like, well, he's like the most optimistic person in the world. So I'm like, well, if he's shitting it, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And so we kind of just sat there just staring at each other like, what are we going to do? And then it was the next day we went into lockdown. So we kind of just went, I think the next day a lot of the corporate started going into work from home. And then I think maybe the day after was actual government lockdown. And yeah, my mindset, I think in front of the team, I was always acting like everything was okay. And I've learnt since then that probably wasn't the best thing to do. Like I always put on a front. You know how leaders just think they need to be the one that's okay, the one sorting shit out, the one that's like knows what they need to do. And almost felt like I needed to know what I needed to do all the time. And that was creating the stress. And that was creating probably a lot of the anxiety around the whole thing. So vulnerability is what I learnt during that phase, because I figured I don't need to be the person that has it all together. But it's my natural go-to. So it's hard to be vulnerable. I find it really hard. But I learnt that then.
So that vulnerability that you learnt, did you feel that made you closer to your team?
Yeah, I think it's what pushed us through and brought us out stronger. Because, saying, this does suck. Like, this is what I'm going through. And becoming relatable was probably, and I know a lot of people talk about that, but so much easier said than done. You can say, I ended up becoming like this vulnerable figure in my business. But doing that is, for some people, for me, so challenging. So that was probably my biggest challenge.
Yeah, because it can get used against you. And
100%, yeah. And you've got to really trust people. But I think that's why it's so valuable, right? Because if you trust them and you put that trust in them, it builds a strong relationship. But yeah, it was hard.
And what are like the strongest desks out of like sales, marketing, contact center? And what are the sort of your OG market that you've always focused on? Sales, like us too.
So we're all competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I'm giving you my secrets.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
We're all sales recruiters and we all started in 2017 with less than 2 years experience.
Yeah.
There must be something in the water for sales recruiters with less
I feel like
than
we
2
should join forces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Table something up.
Okay, so I want to move across to our new segment.
Okay,
so our new segment is we've got a deck of cards and we've got lots of questions on them. You can't see just yet, but what do you reckon about the design? Do you like these?
I think they look great.
Yeah, nice. So we're going to ask you some questions and you've got to tell us what the answer is. Now,
Do I have to just answer fast?
You don't have to answer fast.
Okay.
Just answer honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. You can
Speed doesn't matter. It's not a competition.
No. So I'm just going to shuffle
You're
them
only
up.
competing with yourself.
There's some juicy questions. There's some like average questions. So everyone gets a fair shot at answering, something, saucy and something a little bit politically correct. That's just.
Okay.
I'm trying to shuffle these.
You're a great shuffler.
Yeah.
Who taught you to do that?
Yeah. There we go. All right. You can pick the card.
Oh.
And I'll ask the question, just so you know it's not rigged.
Okay.
I'll get to ask the question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's a boring one.
Should I pick another?
Yeah.
We don't want to waste time.
No. We just want to get to good stuff first.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Can you share a mistake you made during the recruitment process and what you learned from it?
During my recruitment process?
Yeah. Tell us about a mistake you made throughout the process of maybe a client recruitment process or your own, and you thought, ooh, what do I need to learn out of this learning mistake?
I've got one for my own and one for client. Which one do you want?
Both.
My own?
Yeah.
Okay. I missed doing we always do disc profiles when we recruit people because I'm trying to look for like a balance in the team. And we had a lot of IS energy types, so people who just like stability, they're not your sales hungry people. And I really needed like an ID match or a DI and essentially stopped doing the disc profiling, wasn't getting the right types of personalities. I needed to go back to doing disc profiling. That's a recruitment process mistake.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, because
Yeah.
I think I'm doing the same thing right now. I used to do those all the time. And for the last maybe 3 or 4 hires, I'm just like, oh, whatever, just come
Yeah,
in.
like I know what they are, it doesn't matter.
It's not going to change my decision. I'm hiring these people. All right, your turn to pull a card.
Oh, how do you assess cultural fit when evaluating candidates?
For our team.
Yeah.
We do it based on values. So I have a set of questions that line up with our values. And then I ask them, but Daniel also asks questions around values. And then we bounce off each other after.
What are the
and
values?
then obviously part of culture fit is the DISC profile as well, because we're trying to get that balance of personality types. Values, so we've got ambition, we've got persistence, collaboration, curiosity, and human.
Okay, how do you measure someone's persistence? Is there a question that you ask and you go, boom, good answer?
Yeah, so for example, let's say you've been in a sales environment, you've got a prospect, you've spoken to them once, they didn't reply to you, what did you do? What's your next step? They didn't reply to you again, okay, what did you do? Or, you know, you try to achieve a goal, you've got a target for the month, say you're in week 3, you're on 0. What do you do in the last week to turn it around? Or you're halfway through target on week 3, what do you do to turn it around in the last week? So just based on behaviors, like what are you doing to persist?
Yeah, love that. That's what you just asked. Tell us about a time where you burnt a bridge with a client.
Yeah, I've got a recent one.
Great.
I've never intentionally burned a bridge with a client. Obviously, I like to say obviously, none of us would want to do that. We had a client recently who just didn't align with our values. We've got a no dickhead policy. I had a client who was quite literally abusing my staff and then refusing to pay fees and wanted to basically negotiate not paying a fee when the service was delivered, and they couldn't quite articulate how we hadn't delivered a service. And we were going to go down legal. And yeah, we ended up just saying we don't want to work with you again. But it was based on just not aligning, like just not ideal client, not a good use of time.
What did you say? Did you say we have a no dickhead policy? Unfortunately, I'm not going to reply moving forward.
No, I said I wish you all the. So we basically had a meeting where we spoke for about an hour about the challenges. And then when I sent the follow-up email, I just said, I wish you all the best in the future, and I'll completely understand if you need to use another agency, as we just aren't the right fit for each other and our objectives in business don't align.
How'd they take it?
Not well, but I don't think it was a surprise. I think it was quite obvious we didn't align.
Yep.
Yeah.
This conversation's so hard to have at the beginning.
So hard. I'm only getting there now.
And I think that's happened more and more because everyone's had an abundance of clients, and you got stitched up through end of 2020, 2021. Clients would be like, mate, we are the best employer. And then you build out their team or at least a couple of roles and they've completely lied to you.
Yeah. Well, the other thing as well is that the clients that take the most of your time and are the most demanding and the most needy often are like your worst spending account. And you've got your team spending all this time and energy on people who aren't an ideal client and waste so much time and then don't actually spend anything.
Yep. All right, I've just picked the top 3 and we're going to bang out these last 3. You ready?
Okay, go.
What's the most cringiest moment you've had in recruitment?
I had an interview with a candidate and they asked me on a date straight after.
Really?
Really? Tell us, how did that happen?
I don't know. We were in the boardroom doing an interview, and we did a full interview. It was for a head of sales role. And at the end of it, he said, I'm so sorry, but I have to ask this question. He asked me out on a date.
What did you say?
I said, no.
Our values don't align.
Wow, you know what?
And I was like hot and flustered. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to get him out of the boardroom.
That's my next question. Has a client or candidate ever hit on you?
Yeah, then.
Wow, okay. I'm going to have to get another card.
Does that happen a lot for females?
Yeah, I think so. But I think that's any industry, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another. Okay, we've got 2 more questions. What's the biggest fuck up you've made in recruitment?
I'm trying to think of one.
The biggest one. Come on, you've had some fuck ups, surely.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of a good one. I'm trying to think of something that's
There's
like
just so many fuck ups.
juicy.
You're just ranking them from 1 to 100. Which is the biggest?
I don't know. Biggest fuck up. Yeah, okay. Biggest fuck up. I've got one. Can we cut out all the thinking time? So my business partner said to me, so Daniel, we're going to throw him under the bus here, said, throwing him under the bus, but I should have been organised. He said, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Europe first, drop my wife in Europe, and then I'm going to Vegas, and I'm going to be offline. And I said, okay, no problem. we have double authority on our payroll for all our contractors and for our internal payroll. So he goes, he's offline, he gets to Europe and he doesn't get to Wi-Fi in time for our payroll. And when I had double authority, obviously I'm on the phone to the bank trying to get everything approved. And they're like, we need him to authorize the approval to take him off as double authority and to transfer it to my finance manager as the other authorizer, required him to sign off. So I didn't pay our contractors on time, but then I sat there manually paying everybody, but then he came on and approved payroll. So then I went from not paying anybody to paying everyone twice.
Ooh.
That's my biggest bug.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
there
that.
you go.
The
That
fact
was
that I
worth
thought
the
about
wait.
Yeah, confessions. Jeez, have you got any more you can squeeze out?
No, I'd say that's the biggest one.
And how did all the temps react? Were they like, woo, we love WOW? Or were they like, hey, here's your money back, you double paid?
Well, I remember being on the phone to, like, I was very involved in this situation because it was my fuck up. But I was on the phone saying, we've double paid you, we just need you to transfer that back. And guys, we laugh about it. This was recent. This was September last year.
Wow.
Holy shit.
September or like around there. I can't remember the exact month. But yeah, so.
And was the overpayment, was that more money spent than what Dan would have lost in Vegas?
Oh, I don't know. Questionable.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
really good one. Can you share a time when you had to think outside the box to close a difficult deal?
Yeah. I don't know if it's that fun though. Think outside the box.
I can pull another card.
No, we can work with this. So we had an account that wanted high volume of recruitment. We were trying to go down the whole RPO path. I thought that could be a good solution, but they basically came back saying it's going to be volume and that they hadn't agreed with any recruiters just yet because everyone's just giving them their straight terms. They had budgets they need to work with. So we basically had to work out like a split payment model where they were temps with us to start with, and then there's a fixed fee to convert them to one stage, and then another fixed fee to convert them to the next stage of them being like casuals on their books to them being part-time to them being perm. And it was basically like this invoicing chain. And that I'd never done that before, but that was just taking the problem and going, what do you guys need? What do we need to do to convert this? And then just coming up with a solution. But it's not the most profitable model. So I don't know if I would duplicate it again, but I really was thinking outside the box and clutching the straws.
There we go.
Like I wouldn't give that as advice.
You thought outside the box and it just did not work.
Yeah. That's probably.
I do better inside the box. Should we give another one, or should we just run with that?
I think that was an awesome answer, and let's just do a couple more.
Okay.
Okay.
So the answer wasn't that great then. We're doing a couple more.
No, I think because your answers are so good, we're doing a couple more.
Okay.
Let's just do another little bit of a shuffle.
Okay. It's painful.
And what's
watching
your
you
role?
shuffle.
Just while we shuffle.
It's painful shuffling.
What's your role in WOW? Are you still doing BD?
Yeah,
Is
so
that pretty much, are you just like a BDM
Are you
for
on
your
the
own
tools?
company? You're on the tools? Do you
I'm not
fill
on the
through
tools
roles?
anymore, no. So my role is pure leadership now. I work across the sales function. Daniel does the marketing function. So I do sales, operations, people, and then product, so improving our services. And Daniel does marketing and finance.
What do you think you could
Who
improve?
does better?
Oh yeah, who's better? You're
Me, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Come on.
Is he going to be watching this?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to get some flack when this comes out.
He would do it to me, so.
Okay.
We'll
we're
get
good.
him on. At the
Get
end
him
of-
on, yeah.
Yeah, in the new
Yeah.
financial year.
Yeah.
We'll say, give us the dirt, mate.
Yeah.
How stressed were you when you saw your whole bank account just evaporate?
How stressed were you when you knew you couldn't go into the blackjack table because you were double payroll down?
How angry were you?
All right, you can pull this one.
Just the top.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the worst client interview process you've ever experienced?
Like the 8-step ones. Where
Yeah,
they
is
do.
that actually a real thing?
That's a real
Yeah.
thing.
You've had
Yeah.
8 steps.
Yeah.
Did you get
I had one client go all the way to 9 because I was still unsure.
with the same candidate?
Same candidate.
Did he get the job?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Jeez.
But they have people who go through that and don't. And then one of my clients, one of the hiring managers that I now work with, put him through a 9-step process. And he said when he got the offer, he felt like saying, fuck you. I'm not taking it, but he took it.
Yeah, you'd almost want to deduct it off your probation period.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
rough. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the worst. Just takes them too long to get through it. You lose the candidates.
We asked that one. What's the toughest position you've ever had to fill?
Toughest position. Probably when I was recruiting software developers, and I don't know how to do that.
Were you just getting jobs on from anyone that wanted a job on?
Oh,
So
When
when
you
I
start-
started,
why is
I
this
was like,
just like
I'm-
looking in the mirror
Oh.
right now?
Oh,
eh?
man.
I was like, I am a sales recruiter, but I'll take what you give me.
You need a Ruby on Rails C#.net? Okay.
C#. I was like, I just need you to have C#.
I got a
remember-
Ruby on
No-
Rails story.
No JS.
Yeah.
Remember that
I,
one?
I was actually recruiting for a company we used to, this is when we first started.
Mm.
They're called, I can't even remember what they're called, but they got like this government funding in Perth because they're like a startup, and we agreed on a 5K flat fee. I think this is like within like the first 3 to 6 months or something. And they were developing like an app, and they needed a C# developer. And I'm pretty sure I was like calling people. I'm like, mate, so have you got the C hashtag experience? He's like, mate, let me just explain something to you. That means C#. I was like, oh, good. Okay, so have you got that? He's like, yeah, mate. I was like, let me send you the JD and you let me know if you fit the criteria.
That's what I was doing. I'd be like to the candidates, I'm just going to send you the JD. If you could just let me know.
If you can let me know you're a good fit, then I'll send you details to the client.
Then we can progress.
Yeah.
But you,
Don't ask to talk to me though, because I don't know anything.
you can't do that with salespeople because every salesperson will come back and, mate, I absolutely suit this to a T.
Yeah, with software developers though, you can. Like they'll literally be like,
Yeah.
these are the points I have, these are the points I don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a Ruby on Rails. I sent out at our old agency, I sent out like a mass mail to the whole database. That's when I learned about email marketing and the power of it, because I started getting people come back to me. And yeah, I got this Ruby on Rails. The guy's like, I need a Ruby on Rails developer, someone in Newcastle. I was like, yeah, mate, we got him. Put up a job ad. 2 people applied. One guy was like a Subway artist. This guy had Ruby on Rails. I just saw it in his CV. I was like, yep, got him. He's like, mate, awesome, good job. Anyway, the guy was had an Indian holiday. Like he was going to India, and he's like, it was 6 weeks into the job, and then had like an 8-week holiday. And because I didn't interview him properly, I spoke to him for like 4 minutes about this thing, and this guy left and paid a 25 grand fee within like 24 hours. I felt so bad. And then that's how come I always learn to ask if people are going on holidays. So now it's a written question.
It is literally in his.
It's written in mine too.
It's in his brief. He sends candidates to clients. No holidays coming up. No holidays
No
planned.
Holidays. It's a
I've been
really
burnt
critical
as well.
question, because
Yeah.
I was chatting to James in the office. He goes, mate, you won't believe just what happened then. And I'm like, what? He goes, mate, I just got this candidate the offer, and she's going on holidays literally in 4 weeks. I'm like, yeah, mate, that's why we've got to ask if they're going on holidays.
Like, obviously.
Yeah.
And he goes, why don't people tell me this stuff? I said, mate, they'll tell you what you ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. Okay, what's the most common white lie you tell your clients or candidates?
Most common white lie
Mm,
that we already have candidates for the job.
Oh, that's what I was about to say.
yeah. What about the candidates? What's the most common white lie you tell candidates?
That if this is not the right job for them, we have others.
Fuck, I like you.
Only because. Wait, can I explain myself?
Yep,
No,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cut off there. That's taken out of
Nope.
context.
We're snipping this up and we're posting it on the WOW Recruitment LinkedIn page.
I didn't know this would be a sabotage.
This is how we delete our competitors.
yeah. This is how we're slowly working through the industry. We're like the Jeffrey Epstein of recruitment. We just get shit on people.
Take that out of context.
Sorry.
That is too much.
Do you want to come to our island?
Yeah. I'll fly you in.
You guys are too much. Surely that's getting cut.
No,
No, I don't think so.
That
I
won't
don't
get
think
cut.
so.
That'll be all right. That was all us. Emily had
Oh.
nothing to do with that. No. What was the question? No, you said you were going to explain to them about the other job opportunities.
Yeah, because then
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it create like they're then honest. They're not just trying to make themselves a perfect fit for that job. They go, well, I can tell you if it's not quite ideal for me, or if there's something about it I don't like, or if the salary's not quite right, because you've got others for me.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it does create more of an open conversation.
Do you know the 5x5?
Do you mean
That's the Beaumont.
candidate-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nina taught me that.
Yeah. Do you run that?
Yes.
it hard to do?
Yeah, for
And
our
is it temp focused or perm?
temp and perm, but our associates mainly run it like that.
True.
Our
It
newbies
sounds
run
great. It sounds
that.
like something very hard to manage.
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having 25 candidates just in my back pocket ready to go.
But are you guys perm?
Yeah.
Oh, is it a contract thing?
Yeah, it's really good for temp, but
Oh.
also really good for associates where their job is to manage candidates and have candidates ready to go for the consultants.
Oh, candidate managers.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you'd expect that.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
get
idea.
your candidate manager to do it.
Yep. Beauty. I'm learning every day.
Every day's a school day.
Okay. What's the lowest fee you've ever done?
I don't even want to say.
It won't be lower than mine. I told you mine.
What's yours?
2K.
2K flat.
I think mine's 3.5.
Really?
It's not much better.
So you're twice as good.
You're like a Sydney girl version of us. I never believed when you're like, hey, we got a similar story. I was like, oh, whatever, you're just saying that.
I was listening to your podcast, like, who is this guy? Like, have they cloned me?
Okay, so 3.5K flat. How did that come about?
Just negotiating and just being like, well,
Not negotiating.
okay.
Oh, good negotiating.
A, being not very good at negotiating. But B, just basically being like, Daniel was the worst. He used to have this mentality of it's better than no money. I just really hate that I ever listened to him because I'd be like, oh, I suppose like, I've got nowhere else to put this candidate. It's better than no money. So I'd take the 3.5K. But I didn't realize I was devaluing myself and others.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
what point did that happen for you? The tipping point where you're like, Dan, I need you to just step
The
aside, buddy.
3.5K fee was only last week, mate.
Just trying to recruit fees from sending everyone their double payments in October. Yeah, what tipping point were you like, hey, I think I should increase my fees?
We actually increased our rates in general, like on our terms of business a year in,
Yep.
or like a year and a half in. And it probably wasn't until 6 months in that I started getting serious about negotiating and valuing. But I still believe that even up until 2 years in, I was probably still not firm. Like we're still working at 10% even. And you think about that now and you're like, 10%, what was I doing?
Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah, I think 2
10%.
years is when we started to like really get our
Does
confidence in value.
See, with our terms,
About 3.5, 4 years into your recruitment career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
How long did it take you?
Oh, 3? Yeah, probably same time, I think I said.
yeah, 3 years.
It wasn't
Okay.
until
So
COVID.
So our fees were very similar to our last agency because it was all we knew. And our last agency's fees were not great. So it was either 10%, no guarantee period, 12% exclusive, 13 to 16%.
No, it's 0 to 60K was 13%, 16 to 100 was 16%, anything over 100K was 20%.
Yeah. And
There
so
was 5 different prices.
every time you'd send terms to someone, they would look at the lowest rate and go
Go at your
10%.
lowest. Yeah.
So now ours is just, retained. So if they pay 50% of the fee up front, it's 15%. And any salary not retained or not exclusive is just 22%. And now everyone comes back and goes, oh, can you meet me
the middle.
halfway? Can you do 18%, please? I'll go exclusive. I don't want to pay half the fee up front. And now all of a sudden we've almost doubled our fees, mainly because the market is obviously a
Yeah.
big help with that. But now just making it like 2 options. You either pay for half the fee up front, you get 15%, or it's just 22%, whatever salary. Let's not complicate things. And it's helped considerably, I reckon.
Yeah,
Huge.
that's smart. I like that.
And what's your split on temp? And when did you bring temp into the business?
So temp, we got serious about a year and a half ago.
Oh, cool.
And the split at the moment is about 30-70, 70 being perm. We just want to flip that.
Yeah.
The goal at the moment is to get the team know we're all working towards 50-50. But then once we get to 50-50, we'll be going 70-30 the other way, 70 temp.
And is that because Greg Savage swung a guillotine over your head and scared you?
Pretty
like
much.
us?
Yeah,
he did
he's
that to
doing the
us.
same
Yeah.
to us.
We went for coffee and I left like, holy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went radio silence halfway through the podcast because he's like, yeah, you guys have a guillotine over your head. We're like,
Yeah, we're like,
Right.
oh, we're perm recruiters. And he's like, you suck. You need to get temp. Like, oh, okay.
and then what, and we're in sales, right? So that was like really hard. So did you guys just start doing call centers?
Yeah,
Or
contact
what are
center,
your temp roles?
which is inbound and outbound. So contact center, inbound, outbound.
Hard roles.
hard roles to
Senior
fill.
sales roles are so much easier than those roles.
Yeah. Look, perm I find way easier. Building the team, getting the wins. I'm finding temp does have its challenges, but it could also be our market and the margins and everything. So instead of going, I mean, if I was to have my time again building temp, I wouldn't try and align it with what we currently do. I would just go with a new division that's got good margins and good flow of work. Because we do contact center, inbound, outbound. We do marketing roles. And then we also do business support roles. So receptionists, admins, EAs, PAs.
Did you build your temp book from recruiters that are already experienced in temp? Like, I don't know how to build a temp book myself because I've never done temp. I'm sure I could have a crack at it. How did you get your head around going from the perm's really easy to this overly, without actually ever doing it before? I'm sure it seemed overly complicated and convoluted and scary.
Yeah.
How was that transition from going from perm to going, all right, we're going to start doing temp?
So I came from temp recruitment myself and was doing a bit of perm. And then when I started my own agency, just went full perm because it's better cash flow wise. So I knew how to do temp. I'd always had a bit of temp happening on the side. Like we always had at least 20, 30 temps out when I was being the recruiter and doing everything. And then as we grew, I kept my temps and kept that going. And then when we started to take it seriously a year and a half ago, I brought on one of the high billers from Hayes on the temp space and got her to start the division.
Oh, awesome.
For
That's
me.
so good.
Yeah, her name's Louise. So she's basically the team lead of that now and she runs it.
Shout out, Louise.
Well done, Louise.
All right, craziest thing you've done to get a deal over the line?
Craziest thing I've done. I've offered to walk someone's dog for them.
What, you offer this candidate and I will walk your dog?
Oh, no. I thought you meant client deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So trying
Give
to
us
get
context.
So basically, I was trying to get the deal across the line, and we had a joke because every time we spoke on the phone, he was always out walking the dog. He used to complain that no one in his family would walk the dog, and that he was always having to walk the dog when he got home from a long day at work. And so every time I called him to follow up on my terms of business getting signed, he was out walking the dog. So it became like a thing. It wasn't as random as it sounds. And so when we got to our final meeting where I was going through the negotiations, you know how you've always got your variables of what you can move on? And you've got to do like your options closing and your trial closing and all of that stuff. So I was doing my normal spiel. And then when I got to the end, I threw in that I'd walk his dog. I'd offered to do that if he'd sign today. And it got him laughing. He basically found it hilarious and said, I'm actually going to take you up on that. He never did. But he said, I'm actually going to take you up on that. And he goes, all right, I'll sign it today. So that's probably
awesome.
the craziest thing I've thrown in there. That's a bit outside the box
That
and a
is
bit random.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, let's go two more. The biggest lowball offer you've been able to get over the line?
The biggest lowball offer.
Yeah, so maybe your candidate's expectations are 80, client smashes you with a nice 55 plus unlimited commissions.
The lowest one I've been able to get across the line.
What was the gap? How did you get it back to where it needs to be?
Oh, you mean get it across the line at what they originally wanted?
Yeah, so like what was the offer, what were the expectations, and how did you bridge the gap to get the deal over the line?
So I've got a client notorious for undercutting. So they give you a job, they give you the salary. We finally get to the end and they cut it. So we had a roll on that was at 150. And when they came back with the offer, it was 120 plus stock options. Then it was 110 no stock options because the board turned it all down because of market conditions. And we got them across the line on 110, no stock options, on what we lowballed them to. I got them across the line based on like vision, based on where the company's going. They're a startup, based on the investment funding they're getting coming up. They're going from Series A to Series B. And yeah, based on like the vision of them getting stock options in 12 months' time.
Okay.
And how do you uncover that with candidates? Because I know majority of recruiters might not even look at that. They'll just go, oh, yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Do you always have that little fire in your belly to be like, we're going to find it?
Yeah, I'll do absolutely everything
If
possible.
you know it's right.
If I know it's the right candidate with the right skill set and the right drive and the right career ambition for that client, I'll do absolutely everything in my power to get it across the line. And I think that's what makes me different to most recruiters, and why we probably end up starting our own agencies is because you have that drive to do absolutely everything. And then when you've got that, you ask the right questions. So with candidates, it's always about like the drivers, the absolute non-negotiables, and rehashing those at every step of the process. Like I'm always reminding the candidate of what's important to them, because they'll go home and speak to their partner who will say, no, but I want you home and we want to do this, we want to do that. And we had one deal fall through because of a partner only last week, and it just burns because you go, these aren't the things that you said were important, but you know, sometimes it does fall through. So always trying to uncover that.
You know what I think is important as well to add to that is your energy going into the offer. I've got a new recruit at the moment, and we're going through this kind of training period of how to present an offer more effectively. And he offered one candidate this role, and it was like an 80K salary. The client wanted to offer this person 70K, and he went into the offer with, hey mate, yeah, look, you've got the job, but it's only 70K salary. And it was like,
That sounds like you got a 30K
I was like,
salary.
pep up, mate, pep up. While he's on the phone, I'm like, smile, like jack him. And he's like, oh yeah, but you know, like it's at least you got the job. Like it was, the delivery was.
You can't bring that disappointment in.
No, and now, you know, we had a call recently. And I think the light bulb's kind of gone off for him now, because it's the second time he's have to present a salary that's lower than the candidate's expectations. And now he's going into it like, hey, mate, look, great news. It's not exactly where you wanted it, but let me tell you why it's so good. And all of a sudden now the offers are a little bit exciting, a little bit like, oh, okay, it's not what I'm after, but this sounds like it could be good. The consultant's excited. This must be okay. And it's been able to really start to get candidates over the line because of that energy. So just thought I'd throw that in there. As
One thing we've done, I don't know how you present your perm candidates, but one thing that stopped unders and overs was we'd actually put in like their dot points, their experience, and then what their salary expectations are.
Yeah, we did that as well. So on the consultant summary, it's got like a paragraph on why they're suitable, skills, dot points, and then salary expectation. And if they've got a range, we'll put the range.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's just flat. And sometimes if I know a client is someone who likes to underball, we might manage the candidate's expectations on that and go, I'm just going to put you at 155. If we know they're probably going to end up offering 140, it means that if I know the candidate will take 140, do you know what I mean? Like we purposely give ourselves that buffer zone with the client.
Yep. Love
and
that.
and goes both ways. Sometimes we do it the reverse, but it's just negotiating, right? Well, that's nice. A bit of touchy.
This is
That-
confessions.
that night in the
Secrets of a
van.
recruiter, eh?
Yeah.
Sleeping in the vans, doing weird things.
Yeah.
And sleep deprivation. Yeah.
Okay, last question. What's the most ridiculous excuse you've heard for not going to an interview?
There's so many. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Some pretty crazy ones.
What, you want me to pull a new card or? Geez, I thought that would have been an easy one you could knock out of the
There's
park.
so many.
You're freezing up on
I
us,
had one.
Emily.
Hang on. I had one candidate who gave the excuse that their grandfather died 3 times. Just three different
times.
recruiters for 3 different jobs. We figured it out when we went back through the system's notes, meaning they had three grandfathers.
That poor candidate.
I know, right?
I can't believe
They had that
that's
happen
got to
to
be the worst year ever.
Yeah, bad luck.
What do you do there? How do you handle that? Do you call them out, or do you go, look, let's just not deal with this person?
Just
because
don't deal with them again. Yeah.
why don't you just deal with them 2 more times? Because you know that could possibly only be 1 more grandfather, and you'll never get that objection again.
Wouldn't there only be 2 grandfathers? Oh, but
Oh
you've got-
wait, no.
Hang on.
Yep, never mind. Yep, there shouldn't be any more than 2. Okay, don't worry.
Like we're already over the
Yeah.
limit.
We're
don't know where
already
you're
over the
getting
limit.
the
Yeah,
others
good
from.
point. I'm thinking 4 grandparents. I think that's where I was getting confused.
No, it was a grandfather. You knew that
Grandfather.
part, yeah.
Okay, yep. Sorry.
How much has Greg Savage influenced you and WOW, like having that connection now?
I think Greg's really good from just always bringing things back to basics and being able to say, you just have to bring it back to basics and it works. So he's good at from like a grounding perspective and not getting caught up in like the new way of doing things. And that's great. And we do adapt and we do take on new ways of doing things. But sometimes the basics just need to happen.
Yep.
So he's been influential from that perspective. And he also gives me the reassurance that we're on the right path, we're doing some good stuff, our systems and processes are good. Having someone with experience when you don't have that much say you're doing the right thing, it has a lot of influence because it just gives you confidence.
Yeah.
And gives you belief that you're doing the right thing and you're going in the right direction. Otherwise, you can sometimes feel like you're running on a hamster wheel.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Just getting out of the zone.
Yeah.
How long did Dan take? Was he a fish to water when it came to recruitment?
Daniel's a really slow learner. So he will...
Sorry. Sorry, Daniel.
He would agree with me. He's incredible at so many things.
You just haven't listed any?
He's incredible at taking his time with learning. He's so patient when it comes to picking up on things.
I should say... I should really say some nice things, shouldn't I? No, he is really good at a lot of stuff, but learning something new is not one of them.
How long did it take to do his first placement? Do you remember what it was?
Like a year and a half.
No.
He wasn't in it with me full time.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't
okay.
tell you guys this. So
Yeah.
when Daniel started with me, he wasn't working in the business at all. He was just a strategic sounding board. There was no time. He was running his other business. He had, I think, a couple of businesses on the go. He was just a strategic sounding board when I needed it. So I'll just call him up, and he was in the office space. Then he started to see things were getting moving, so he started giving me 1 day a week. I got Mondays. So he'd work with me all day on a Monday, and I just got him doing BD.
Awesome.
And then from there, he started giving me an extra day, and then now he does 3 days. But it's taken me 6 years to get him to do 3 days, and he only just took on the third day. So when I say it took him a while, he wasn't there enough to get traction. It's not like he was in there 5 days with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I mean, he's a slow learner too, but he was not there enough to really build traction and momentum. So he didn't make his first placement for a while.
Oh, true. I love your one-liners because your follow-ups completely contradict or just explain it in such a better way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you're like,
preface everything with...
He's so slow. It took 18 months. Oh, but he only worked there 1 day a week.
Yeah.
We're going for the kill first.
Yeah.
And what about the awards? You both look very good at your WOW awards nights.
Oh, thanks.
How did you work out who to give awards to? Was it for everyone and anyone?
No.
Or was it just
Everyone
like
gets a ribbon?
everyone gets a ribbon? Well done, guys.
We don't get participation awards at
Okay.
WOW.
No.
Only the tough survive.
So survival of the fittest. We have awards that are based on metrics, and then we have culture awards. So the ones based on metrics, you've got top biller, obviously, and then you've got ones that are candidate service related. That's on reviews, either on Saucer, Google, stuff that comes through to our inboxes and just measurable stuff, and your NPS scores in that. And then you've got client service, you've got personal brand as well, so that's LinkedIn activity and posts. There's a few. So they're more based on actual data and metrics, and then the culture awards get voted on by the team.
Oh,
So you've got like the fire extinguisher.
Cool.
That's like the problem solver, and the mover of mountains, like people who just go above and beyond for stuff. And there's a few there, yeah.
That's awesome. And what's the next step for WOW? Is it going to be 50 plus? Are you going to grow the headcount?
Yeah. What's the
super hard?
goals?
Yeah.
5-year goals.
Yeah, so in 2 years we want to be at a headcount of 33.
30? How'd you get that?
So
You're like,
so Daniel and I went away and we drew out an org.
that's Daniel's lucky number in Vegas?
My favorite number is 3, but no, that's not why. So we basically went and drew an org map of what we wanted it all to look like, and it shifts and it changes. It was 34 at one point, it's 33 at the moment. But the more specific we are, we're both the types of people that if we can be super specific about what we're going for, we make the right decisions, we move in that direction. So it's specific for a reason. It's like, you know how people say they start meetings like 7:57, and it's just, instead of doing it at 8 o'clock, just means everyone's there
I
on
like
that specific time.
Yep.
Just about messing with your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, 33 headcount in 2 years, and then in 5 years, the goal's not so much on headcount, it's more on like profitable growth and moving towards a structure of 70% temp and 30% perm, so that we can be in the position to sell if we want to sell. So we're in the process at the moment of just doing all our research and getting around the right people to become exit ready. And it's not that we're definitely going to sell, but we just want to have that option and be in a position where we could.
It's a
We've got
confident
good
option.
valuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it could just be a matter of stepping back and having a CEO go in and run it, but just at a position where we're at a high enough profitability where we can. And that could be anywhere from, I mean, our goal is to be anywhere from like 5 to 6 EBIT, 5 to 6 mil EBIT
Yep.
to get to that position.
Love it. They're really good goals. And hopefully you do achieve them. We've got a lot of...
She will.
We
will.
know you're going to achieve that. Sorry.
Don't
Jeez,
like
get that hope.
language.
Get that hope word out of there. And are you going to be at Talent X? You're not.
She's
No.
ghosting us.
Oh, I was about to say we're going to see you at the awards.
No, I didn't nominate this year.
You're boycotting it?
Yeah.
Why are you
Why?
boycotting? You're with AppsGo now. You've
No.
signed a
You
deal with
You
AppsGo.
can't join RCSA.
No. Truth is that we just have submitted for a lot of awards. We've been going to the Tiara Awards, which like the baby step before. Pretty much, the stigma is that it's a bit easier to win at Tiara
What's
Awards.
Tiara Awards.
Exactly.
Oh, it's not a crown. It's a little tiara. Like,
No, so you guys, you don't know Tiara Awards?
No.
no.
Who's that? Who gives that out?
WOW Recruitment.
No, it's the Tiaras.
From who?
I can't remember their name.
Is it like a
It's like a mini
Seek
Six
award?
It's by
like a
Talent
Sarah?
Partners.
Talent Partners?
Who's talent
Who's that?
partners?
They're in the UK. They're based in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You
so
get
you're
a
They
UK
run global
award.
awards.
the-
So they
you
come
only
and they do
Australian?
Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, true. Well,
Yeah.
maybe they might find out about us.
Yeah, so anyway, my point is that we've been doing their awards. We've been winning. We're getting some things over the line. And then, yeah, we just always submitting with RCSA and we just can't seem to make
Oh, so you don't want to risk it anymore.
waves.
Might be a bit damaging to the brand if you don't win.
No, priority is just in places that have high ROI. So I always look at if we're doing marketing activity, what's the return? And at last year, we're focusing on awards a lot purely because we knew that we wanted to attract talent. We wanted recruiters to want to work with us. We were growing headcount. That's where we were going. This year, it's about consolidating headcount, getting our current team performing. We're only bringing on one extra headcount. She's starting in September. So it's not about attracting the talent this year. It's more about the clients and the candidates. So the awards that we're trying to get around to the ones that they're in versus in front of recruiters. So it's just being a bit strategic about where we can get the return.
Yep.
Because the award submissions, they take so much time and
Oh,
energy.
big job. Seek Sarah's like at the same time right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not in the awards for RCSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just
Why
rolling
is
on
that?
them.
You just...
Why is that?
Well, we missed the boat. You had to do them in
Oh.
February.
Oh,
We only
okay.
became a preferred partner in.
Bad time of the
March.
year as well. It
Yeah.
was just, we're coming in, everything was busy.
And when you got other priorities, you know, it's awards are nice. They're a nice to have. They're not
Yeah.
a priority.
That's where we're at with it. It was
yeah.
a nice to have this year. It's not a priority. We've also got like marketing spend to allocate and it just wasn't where we wanted to allocate it this year.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have a copywriter do all the submissions. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just wasn't aligned this year.
Cool. All right, that's awesome. Well, how long have we been? Have we hit our limit? 1 hour 30.
We can cut some of it out.
No. I don't
No,
think
there's-
anything's
there's
getting
nothing
cut
cuttable.
out. No. Well, thank you for joining us on the Confessions podcast,
Thanks
Emily.
for having me.
Thanks, Emily.
It was
So much
awesome.
fun.
It was awesome finding out more about the WOW story and the Emily story, and we're going to be following the story for years to come, I think.
Amazing. Thank you. You
Thank
too,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another Confessions of a Recruiter podcast with Blake and Declan. We hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value and insights out of this episode. If you do have any questions or you would like to recommend someone to come on the Confessions podcast, we would love any introductions. And remember the rule of the podcast: like, share, and recommend it to a friend. Until next time.